Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another book recommendation video, and this time I'm talking about books that I think are really good if you're just starting to get into romance, if you want to start reading romance, specifically spicy romance. These are good sort of intro beginner books in my opinion. So without further ado, let's hop into the video. Okay, so the first books are actually a series, and I think any of them are really good beginner romance, and it's the Bromance Book Club series. This is the first one in the series. Basically, this follows a group of guys who use and read romance books as a club and use them for their own love life. They use them as sort of like guides in order to fix their relationships, woo their women, things like that. This one specifically is a second chance romance, and it's so that he can win back his wife, and it is really good. This one I think is my favorite of the series that I've read so far. I think for the most part these are fairly, like, they do definitely have some spicy scenes in them, but there's nothing crazy in them, and they're also fairly not very often. Like, there's only like one or two in each book, so I feel like they're a really good one to start with if you're just wanting to get into spicy romance books. They also have a really good plot in all of them, so it's not just like it's all spice and no plot. So it's they're just hilarious. They're just a lot really good fun times. So I highly recommend this series if you're just new and want to start and pick up a good fun romance. The next books are also a series, and this is the Mr. Wrong Number series. The second one is the Love Wager. I really liked both of them, but I really like this one. This one is Brother's Best Friend, which is one of my favorite tropes. It also has the texting trope in it. I don't know if like where they like have like text messages with each other. This one starts when the female main character texts a random number, and then they end up having this conversation, and it turns out to be her brother's best friend, who she coincidentally moves in with because she's having a lot of trouble in her life. So she moves in with her brother and his best friend, and the second book follows the brother of the female main character in this one. This one, again, there's not really any, like, I don't remember if there's any explicit scenes in this one. I think there are, but I don't think it happens very often. And again, it's a very cute rom-com. I think rom-coms are really good ones to start with because they are light and fluffy and easy to get into. There's nothing too heavy in any of them, and it's just a lot of fun. Sorry if you can hear Kevin moving around in the background. The next book that I want to recommend is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This one is sort of like a strange concept, and it might sound very weird and like you wouldn't want to pick it up, but trust me, you need to pick this up. It is very good. It's basically the female main character moves into her aunt's apartment after her aunt passes away, and when she comes home from work after a really tough day, she finds out that she's actually stepped into her aunt's apartment 7 years in the past. So there's something she's always been told when growing up, that there was something magical about this apartment, that it can take you to different time zones, and she discovers that it was actually real all along, and it wasn't just something her aunt made up to tell her about. So she experiences that, and there's just like a whirlwind romance from there. I don't want to give it away too much because I don't want to spoil anything. Again, this one, I think there's a few explicit scenes, but it's nothing crazy, and this one has a really good plot that will keep you engaged, and even if you don't love spice or if you don't love romance, it's got a really interesting plot that I think that almost borders on general fiction. So I think this will be a good one if you're more of like usually a general fiction reader. This is a good one that will give you a little bit of both. Okay, the next series that I want to recommend is the Mason Jar series by Devney Perry. This is the first book, The Birthday List. This one follows the female main character whose husband passes away, and she decides to do all the things that he had on his birthday list in order to honor him, and she meets this guy who helps her along the way, and it's their romance. It's sort of a romance while she's like letting go of her past. It's really sad, it's very emotional, but it's got a really good hook to it. And Devney Perry does romantic suspense elements, which this one definitely has a good one in it. The second one follows the brother of the female main character in this one and her best friend who is his wife. And it's a second chance romance. I don't want to give anything away about that one. Again, it's very cute. Both these books have like really deep emotional plot. They're not super spicy if I remember correctly. Again, I'm like not entirely sure, but I think that these ones again have like a really good plot, really good romantic suspense element. If you were reading like thrillers and stuff before, I think this one would be a really good one transition from thrillers to romance if you want to start reading them. But I think this one is a great one. Okay, and last but not least, the last book I have to recommend is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This is the first book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. I haven't read the second and third one. That's why I am only including the first one in here, just because I think this one is a very good starting point. It is definitely the spiciest of all the books that I just recommended. It definitely has some very explicit scenes, but I think this is the one to go into if you have read romance but mostly closed door romances and you're looking to get into something a bit spicier. This one is a great one. It follows the female main character. It's basically like they work at Disneyland and her family has worked at this company for years, and one day she gets the opportunity to help design some of the rides and things like that for the 150th anniversary. For the 100th anniversary. The male main character is at the park because in his grandfather's will he was left to become the director of this place, and he, in order to get his inheritance, he needs to somehow improve this place. So he reads about her ideas and thinks they're perfect for the park, so he wants to implement them, and that's how they meet. And he is just smitten when he meets her, even though he acts very grumpy about it and like he doesn't actually like her. But anyways, this one's definitely quite spicy at parts. I don't think any spice comes into it until at least 50% of the way through though, so it's not like it's super often. I do think this one is a really good one if you're trying to specifically get into spicy romance and Kindle Unlimited kind of books. Okay, and those are the 5 books I have to recommend to you today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps support my channel a lot. Leave in the comments down below any other romances that you think would be really good for beginners. I'm sure everyone would love to see that list. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.